All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. So exciting seeing people roll in. This is really exciting. Ooh, already 75, 80. Great. Wonderful. All right. So welcome, everybody. If we haven't had a chance to connect before, my name is Destin, and I lead the community team here at Jane. Hopefully, we've connected in the community group, but if not, I would love to invite you to join us in there. Someone from our team will hopefully post a link to that in the chat in a little bit. But if you've been to a Jane webinar before, then you know the drill. We'd love for you to go down to the chat, flip that to everyone. It defaults to hosts and panelists. So if you can flip that to everyone and then introduce yourself. We'd love to know where you're from, your name, where you're from, what your discipline is. It's so great to see you all here. So feel free to pop into the chat and say hi. Hi, Victoria. Hi, everyone. So great to see you. Let us know if you've been to another Jane webinar before as well. It's always nice to see repeated faces. Um, so exciting. And so I'm going to give a little bit more time for some more people to trickle in. It's also going to go through a little bit of housekeeping. So we're really excited for today's topic, which I'm sure you all know. It's no more no-shows. And so we've seen a lot of conversation on this topic in the community group. So second plug for the community group today. It's really lovely to see our community chatting about this topic. So we highly encourage you all to join that if you want and continue the conversation after today's webinar. And then before I pass off, I'm just going to go over a little bit of housekeeping for today's session. So I'm just going to share my screen. And then, so as I mentioned, make sure to turn your chat to everyone. This way, everybody can see what you post, and it doesn't just go to us and panelists, which is really great. You'll be able to see the Jane team in the chat as well. They've got a little Jane blue heart by their name, and so when they chat, you'll be able to see the answers a little easier. You can use both the chat and the Q&A. In today's session, chat goes by pretty fast, as I'm sure you're seeing right now. It is nice because everyone gets a chance to see what you post, but we also have the Q&A, so feel free to choose either one for posting your questions. We have members of the Jane team in there to help answer. And then the session is being recorded, and we'll send out the recording after webinar today by email, as well as we'll post it on our guide. So that's the housekeeping. Then before I pass it off, I did just want to give a little shout out to the Jane team that is in the chat and Q&A. So we've got quite a few members of the team here today to answer your questions. So we've got Siobhan and Sarah and Kevin and Michelle and Hannah and I think Kim as well. So we've got a lot of members of the Jane team here to answer your questions. So feel free to please do post anything you want in the chat and Q&A, any questions around the no more no shows topic. We will do our best to answer them. Yeah, and so I think that that's it. I'm going to pass it off now to Jena and Roselle, and I will pop back on at the end to help facilitate a little Q&A if there is time. So I think we're good. 3 minutes in, and we've got a little over 300 people live, which is so lovely. So Jena and Roselle, take it away.
Great. Thanks so much, Destin. Hey, everyone. My name's Jena from the US support team.
Hi, everyone. My name is Roselle, and I'm from the Canadian support team. Thank you so much for joining us today.
We're here to show you some ways that Jane can help you prevent no-shows and missed appointments at your practice. I'm sure you all know that's why you're here. Before working for Jane, I was an office admin and biller at a chiropractic clinic, so I definitely have seen firsthand how no-shows can affect practices. Both Roselle and I chat with clinics via support phone and email, and we've been able to see how some of these features have made a positive impact. Jane has a lot of great features to help ensure your clients arrive to their visits on time or with punctual cancellation. Whether it be by using Jane Payments, our integrated telehealth, or our automatic appointment reminders, you can rest assured that there's some helpful features in Jane for you. We have a few topics to cover here, and we'll show you exactly where to turn on and customize these features in your account. I'm going to share my screen real quick. I assume everyone can see it. Great. So one of our first tips here is going to be starting off with how to communicate your cancellation policy to your clients. While talking about money can sometimes be an uncomfortable conversation to have, your Jane account can ensure that these policies and protocols are relayed thoroughly to your clients before and after they book their appointments, which can alleviate these conversations. We have some tips here on how to decide what cancellation policies you're comfortable with, and these can also be found in our blog. Another great place to chat is in our Facebook community page. This is where you can reach out and see what's working for other providers at their practices. The first spot I'm going to show you today is how to add your cancellation policy to your intake form in your consent section. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with your intake forms. If not, no worries. You can ask in the chat about how to get these set up. But I'm going to show you one of our forms here. So I've already gone ahead and customized this intake form. If I scroll to the very bottom here, I can see my required consents that my clients will have to fill out when they open up their intake form. So I've got my cancellation policy, and I've also got my no-show policy. Now your clients will have to agree to both of these, and they'll send this through, and you'll be able to review that they marked off on these. Now, in order to customize these consents, you can just go into Edit on any of your intake forms, and you'll go to the consent section. This is where you can add in your own text, or you can even pull text from our questionnaire template library and copy it over to your consent page. It'd be great if all of you could comment in the chat some of your no-show and cancellation consent details or what's been working at your practice. Great. Our next tip here is collecting a deposit or a card on file from your clients when they book online. So it's definitely an easy way to prevent no-shows. In order to get set up with collecting deposits during client booking, you'll need to get started with our Jane Payments feature. Jane Payments is our integrated credit card solution. Some of you may already be using this feature at your clinic, and if you are, feel free to note in the chat how it's helped you with no-show appointments. Aside from the benefits of appointment deposits, you'll also be able to, with Jane Payments, you'll be able to process reoccurring payments for memberships. You'll have the ability to send pay balance reminders to your patients, and you'll be able to save their credit cards on file. Our team is really knowledgeable about all the details of Jane Payments. We've got Kevin in the chat who is like the mastermind of Jane Payments. So you can ask in the chat or follow up with us after for more details. Now to set up Jane Payments, you'll want to head to your settings, and there's a button that says Jane Payments right there for you. You'll link a few things here, and then you'll find some new settings in your account. Now I'm going to show you what the deposit looks like for your clients when they book online. So I'm over here in my online booking site. Now, if you utilize online booking, your clients will choose a provider. They'll choose an appointment. And when they go through with this booking, this is where they're going to be able to provide payment information. So if they've got a card on file, that's great. They'll be able to use that card on file and put that down deposit in order to book their appointment. Loading, perfect. So now they've booked their appointment and their payment is on their profile. All right. One other place I actually am going to show you real quick. Back in our intake forms, if anybody slips through the cracks in the online booking deposits, you can actually add to your forms a way for them to put their credit card right in there. So in your intake form, you would want to turn on the credit card information. So they'll be able to type that in here and it will save to their card on file or to their profile on your account. Great. Okay, now we can go into the next feature. So this is where I'm going to chat about appointment reminders in Jane. So it's really great to see clients booking far in advance on your schedule. This can sometimes, though, cause a higher likelihood of them no-showing. Jane makes it easy to set up automatic appointment reminders via text and email so you can ensure your clients show up on time. Now, to set up appointment reminders in Jane, I'll first show you what it looks like. So in your settings, in your email section, this is a great place to go. You can view all of the examples for your notifications. So this is the email example. Your clients will see when their upcoming visit is, at what time, and the location. Now, when you're ready to customize these, you can head into your settings, into reminders and notifications. This is where you're going to select what kind of notifications are being sent out. Sending one reminder before your cancellation window closes and another on the day of the appointment will allow your patients to cancel if needed without penalty or possibility of no showing. And if anyone wants to chime in about what kind of reminder times have worked for them, that would be great. To add in the reminder, you'll just click Add Reminder here in your settings. Jane's going to have you select the delivery method. And then you're also going to choose when this reminder is sent out. So you can even see the late cancellation cutoff, which is bringing over from your specific cancellation policy. Great, but I've set it to 3-day reminder and I can click Save. And now Jane just knows to send that out to your clients based on their appointment times. You can also customize the wording that goes into these reminders in your language tab. So for example, you can see here, I've got my SMS appointment reminders. I can just click into here. Jane will automatically populate some information for that text, but you're able to add in some customizations as well. All right, the last topic I'm going to cover is one of my favorite newer features, and it's our automated waitlist in Jane. Of course, life happens and some clients won't be able to make it to their appointment. If they cancel their appointment and you have automated waitlist turned on, this appointment will automatically notify your clients that are on your waitlist and they can add themselves right into your schedule. I'm going to hop into the schedule and show you what this looks like. All right, so my patient here at 12 o'clock, Julia, let's say she just can't make it in. I'm going to go ahead and remove her from the schedule. And I'm hoping this works for us. Perfect. So I've deleted that appointment and that's opening up the wait list for my patients to add themselves into. So I can add in a buffer time, which gives priority to the patients that are already on my wait list. So they'll just be able to get notified and they'll go right in and they'll book this slot in. So you'll see less open time on your schedule, even if there's a late cancellation. So this can definitely save a lot of time for you as a provider or an office staff, and it's a perfect way to fill gaps in your day. Now to turn on this setting, you just head to settings and you should have the waitlist option. Some of you may be using this, but maybe not the automated notifications. So if you want to turn those on, you'll just get to set that up down here. You can check that on or off. And then again, Jane is just so smart that she'll just send out the notifications for you. So that's all you'll have to do there. Great. Well, I have completed my tips. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with Roselle. And Roselle, you're on mute.
Yes, thank you, Jenna. I'm going to share my screen now. Hi again. My name is Roselle. All right. So in continuation with what Jenna has discussed so far, I'm here to share with you a few other tips that may come in handy. So the next tip is using telehealth to your advantage. To start off, if you haven't already heard of Telehealth, it is an online video platform that Jane provides to connect with your patients virtually. As we all know, things happen. Sometimes patients can't make it to their appointment because of factors outside of their control. It could be things like bad weather, lack of transportation, family obligations, or illness. By offering a virtual alternative to your in-person visit, this ensures that your patients still get the care they need despite those barriers. It also helps reduce loss in your income or revenue. And of course, there are instances where telehealth is not feasible for in-person therapy, like massage or physio. You have to be in person for that. But whenever possible, offer telehealth to your patients. And I'm going to show you how to change the appointment type. So let's just say our client at 11, Zoe, calls in to reschedule, and we offer the telehealth, and she thinks it's a great idea. So I'm just going to switch the appointment type from in-person to online. And then I'm going to update the appointment. So now we've switched this to in-person and to online. So perfect. And I can send Zoe the invitation from here. And then after the session, we can go ahead, charge Zoe for this telehealth appointment. So Jane makes it really easy for you to charge for those telehealth appointments. So as we can see here, we have our payment policy where they can provide their credit card details when they book online, or they can provide that information when they fill out the intake form. So that comes really handy. As you can see, we have a credit card on file for Zoe. So I'm just going to go ahead, click pay, and then make sure we're charging the correct price. And then next. Jane is marked because Jane remembers the last payment method used by this patient. So I'm just going to X that out. Zoe wants to use the credit card on file. Perfect. We have it here. And I'm going to send Zoe an email of the receipt. And voila. So Jane makes it really easy for you to charge for your telehealth appointments. And I'm curious how many of you are using telehealth at your practice. Let us know in the chat. And our next tip is, don't underestimate the power of a follow-up message. It is critical to stay in touch with your patients, even if they fail to show up to an appointment, as patients may feel guilty or embarrassed to contact you first. So initiating a communication channel with a kind and empathetic follow-up removes the stress of making the first move. This shows them that their well-being is a priority for you. And ultimately, it helps them feel comfortable in rescheduling their appointment and returning to your clinic. For example, if your patient doesn't show up, give them a call to see what's going on. If you can't reach them, leave a voicemail letting them know how they can reach out. You can also send them an email just so your patient has a way of contacting the clinic at any time. Feel free to share some helpful language that you use at your clinic when reaching out to your patients. And our next tip is having a no-show strategy. Be aware of patterns showing up in your practice. For example, what is your baseline no-show rate? How does it impact your clinic's efficiency and bottom line? If 5 out of 10 appointments at your clinic are no-shows, that's not a great sign. That could impact the clinic's revenue by up to 50%, and that's a lot. You can quickly and easily calculate your no-show rate by dividing the number of no-shows and late cancellations by your total weekly appointments. And you can find these numbers using the appointments report with full access or administrative billing. So I go into reports and then click the appointments tab. And then from here, I can filter this by date range. So if I want to know my no-show for last week, I can filter it to last week and then filter the appointment date to no-shows. So this will give me the number of my no-shows. Understanding the average for your clinic will help you notice if there's a spike or change, so you can plan accordingly and take action. This is where your no-show strategy comes into play. Usually you will see spikes during the holidays and poor weather conditions. You can take action by customizing your invoice, having a card on file, sending pay balance texts or emails, also known as payment reminders. Using an electronic health record like Jane will allow you to access no-show history and even help predict no-shows based on patterns. We've made some great updates in the last few months that can help you manage your no-shows and late cancellations. So in December of last year, we released a pay balance text message feature, which allows you to send a text message of outstanding balance to your patients and how they can pay online. This is great for those who don't really check their emails and prefer text message reminders over emails like myself. And then last month, we made 3 updates in the late cancellation workflow. You can now change your late cancellation fee using the cancel button. So it used to be the no-show button. And you can also choose a reason for the late cancellation and undo your cancellation. I just love how you can undo a cancellation. There's no more rebooking appointments that were canceled by mistake. And I'm going to show you how to send payment reminders to your patients. All right, so let's just say, oh, sorry. So let's just say our patient at 10 late canceled. So what we can do is we can select the late cancellation fee from here. And I've created a few options here. So I have like, can charge them $30. I can charge them 50% of the full fee. Or if it's an emergency, I can just say, I don't want to charge them the late cancellation fee. So you can create different options here. And I can also select the reason for cancellation. So we have a few options here, and you can totally customize your options. Now there's this new thing where you can select or you can enter a different reason. And I just love how you can customize the cancellation reason from here. And I can save and cancel the appointment. So now the appointment's been canceled. And I know that Ryan has a credit card on file. So I can jump into Ryan's profile and then send Ryan a payment reminder from here. So under billing notices, I can send Ryan an email reminder or a text reminder, or I can receive a payment from here. Let's just say Ryan doesn't have a credit card on file and I want to send him an email reminder. So by clicking here, I can enter my custom note and then click send. And you can also send him a text reminder. You can enter a custom note and then send. If you're curious what the email looks like, go into the messages tab and you can view the pay balance email from here. So hello, Ryan, you have an open account balance of $30. So you can mention that this was for the late cancellation. And this is what the text message looked like. And we also have a guide on how what the text message from here. So if you're curious what the text message looked like, it will show up on our pay balance online guide. So it looks something like this. All right. And yeah, it's so great that we have this option for your clients to pay online. I know that no-shows are like or late cancellation is a very uncomfortable conversation to have, but by doing this, your clients have a way of paying their balance online on their own and not having to remember to bring their credit card next time they come in. And last but not least, a little conversation goes a long way. If you're seeing frequent no-shows or late cancellations from the same patient, take note. If they miss 3 or more appointments, ask yourself these questions. What can we do to support them? How do we prevent this? Have a chat with them to gauge if they need additional reminders or an alternative approach to their care, like offering telehealth. Take the time to understand what's going on with them. Do they not consider their care crucial? Did they stop coming once they started feeling better? Was their insurance coverage a factor? Understanding the why will help you come to a compassionate solution that works for both of you. Use your best judgment when charging no-show fees. Some clinics waive the no-show fee if it's their first no-show at the clinic, or if they had a medical emergency and they had to cancel last minute. At the end of the day, you want to have a good relationship with your patients. I actually saw one of the comments, Shelly mentioned about having a 24-hour policy because life happens and charging 50% of the full fee. She says clients appreciates it and it still respects the therapeutic relationship, which is great. Another reason for patients not showing up could be their lack of connection with their provider or clinic staff. So make sure you're building meaningful connections with your clients by creating a positive environment at your clinic, providing them helpful reminders and follow-ups, and also providing useful and applicable marketing content on your social media accounts. While no-shows are unavoidable, we've heard from many of you that providing an excellent client experience helps prevent no-shows. So what do you do to make sure your clients keep coming back or attend their appointments? Let us know. And that's it for me. I hope you find these suggestions helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. And please feel free to share your tips as well. We would love to hear from you about how you're managing no-shows or late cancellations at your clinic. Thank you.
Amazing. That was so great. Thank you so much, Jenna and Roselle. And so we definitely have some time for some questions. So I think there was one that came up a couple times that I wanted to see if we could answer. I think it's definitely been answered in the chat and Q&A, but the question was, can you use the waitlist without having booking online turned on?
Oh, yeah. So you can still add folks to your waitlist. If you don't have online appointments, that's something they can still manage and get notified about. So yeah, if you want to have that turned on, that's still an option.
Awesome. And then I know it's been answered in the chat, but Aisha had asked, can we have no-show fees and cancellation fees? Can you have both of those types of fees?
Absolutely. You can have both no-show fees and late cancellations in Jane.
And where do you add in the cancellation fees? I think that was where she couldn't seem to find she couldn't seem to find where to set up the cancellation fees. So where do you do that in the account?
Oh, great question. With full access, you can go under settings and then fees.
Perfect. All right, so let's see if there's a few more questions that we wanted to ask Roselle, and feel free to take a peek at the Q&A and see if there's anything in particular there that you thought we might want to answer. I know there was a question around Jane payments in terms of the cost, if it was an add-on cost. And so I mean, I can answer that one. There's no add-on cost for that. It's just the processing fees that are included. So if you want to learn more about Jane payments, absolutely email our team at any time, support@jane.net, and we would be happy to walk you through that. And I'll share some resources at the end as well, where you can learn a bit more about Jane payments. Yeah, and I've seen I did want to say I've seen a lot of great comments and discussion in the chat. And so I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I highly recommend you pop over to the community, because I think there's a lot of conversation that's happening between the attendees and practitioners. And I think you'd really benefit from being able to continue that conversation. We've seen some amazing recommendations. Hi, Harrison. And we've seen some amazing conversation happening in there. It's so lovely, and just some great feedback and ideas. So thank you so much for sharing. So Jenna or Roselle, was there anything from the Q&A that you wanted to answer live?
I did see one thing that about the deposits on online booking. You will be able to customize like an amount that they're putting down if you'd like to. So that will be like an overall clinic setting. But if you want to like set up a rate that they put for online booking, then you can do that. I might have forgotten to even show that setting, so my apologies, but there's a way to customize like the first visit policy for online booking, if it's a card on file, if it's a full deposit, or if it's just a down deposit of a certain amount.
We could go back in if you want to.
Sure.
Yeah, why don't you share your screen and we pop back in and take a look at that.
That would be great. Let me get there one moment here.
Sure, no problem. And I've seen a couple more questions about the recording, so that will be sent out this afternoon, as well as put on the guide. And then we shared a link a few times to the community that will also come out in the email, and I'll post my screen a little bit with a QR code that you can scan to get there as well.
All right, perfect. So here in the settings in online booking, that's where you're going to see these prepayment and deposits. You'll see this section only if you have Jane Payments linked up. So if you're not seeing this right now, ask us more about Jane Payments, or just get that set up in your settings. But here, the payment policy, you've got a few options. So either no payment required, credit card on file, deposit, or a full payment. And these can be set up to certain clients. So you can set everybody to your default, or you can go into patient profiles and turn it on or off for certain clients. So maybe you have somebody no-showing you often, you can put them to always put their down deposit on online booking first. And then you'll also be able to have a first visit payment policy as well as a deposit amount. So this is customized for the appointments that are booked. Hope that is helpful.
Awesome. Was there anything else from the Q&A that we wanted to cover?
Oh,
taking
I
a
just
look
want to
here.
show where in settings you can create your late cancellation fees.
Perfect.
So on a demo clinic, so you need a full access level. So it's under settings and then fees. So we have our no-show fees here, and then we have the late cancellations down here. So when you're creating a fee, all you need to do is just mention if this is for a late cancellation or if it's a no-show.
Perfect. And then I see in the Q&A, it was answered, but how far in advance can patients book in Jane? 6 months, 1 year? So that was answered in the Q&A, but I wanted to ask that out loud as well.
Yeah, it's customizable
Mhm.
for your staff members. So if you want folks to book only like 3 weeks out, you can do that. If you want it just rolling availability, you can have that set up. That's in your staff settings.
And then another question was, can you enable deposit, et cetera, for specific patients, or is it just clinic-wide? Like when, say, certain people are maybe a little more prone to no-shows, can you do that for a specific patient?
Yeah, I'll show you how to do that. So I'll go ahead and share my screen again here. Okay, so I'm in a patient here at our demo clinic. Now, in their specific settings, you're going to be able on their profile to just go to this pencil icon. And here at the bottom, you're going to see the online booking policy as well as the online booking payment policy. So this would just apply to this specific client. So again, yeah, if they're no showing often or something like that, you can require them to put a full payment when they book online. And that would just apply to this client, nobody else.
Perfect. And then another question was, can you customize no-show late cancellation fees for different modalities or practitioners rather than it being clinic-wide?
Like the language that it says, like late cancellation chiropractic.
Yeah, so this
Or
was Maeve asked this in the chat, and Sarah shared the no-show and late cancellation fees guide. So she said it's certainly customizable for your fees. So I think we can do that to some degree.
yeah, you can create multiple fees. So depending on how you customize like the language, I think that would work, right, Roselle?
Yeah. It's more like a customized cancellation policy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. I think maybe I have time for one more question. Anything else from the chat or Q&A we thought would be good to answer? Looking through. I think we covered a lot of them, which is so great. I think we've covered most of them. So I think that is great. I think we can wrap it up here. We will, so as I said, send out the recording. We'll also include some of the chat and Q&A if we can. We'll definitely share a link to a recording that has the chat included, and then we'll go through the Q&A and pull some of those questions and answers to add to our guides and to our other documentation. And again, if you have any questions that weren't answered, do feel free to send us an email, support@jane.app, or join the community. I'm just going to share my screen one more time to give you the link to that as well. So just one more quick share. So here are some links to some helpful resources. So an article on our blog, and then as well as the Jane Payments section on our guide. You can scan those QR codes, and we'll also send out links to this as well with the recording and put it on our guide. And then, as I mentioned, this is what, the fifth time I think I've mentioned in this webinar, we highly recommend you join the Jane community. There has been so much fantastic conversation happening in the chat today, and lots of great conversation around how looking for advice from one another and sharing details on how you manage no-shows in your own practice. So definitely a great place to continue that conversation. So thank you so much to everybody for joining us today, for all the great questions, all the great conversations in the chat and Q&A. Really looking forward to continuing this conversation in the group or over email. And thank you so much to Jenna and Roselle and the rest of the Jane team supporting in the chat and Q&A. So great to connect with everyone again, and we'll hopefully see you again in our upcoming webinars. We have a few more scheduled for this month as well as into the rest of the year. So we'll see you again soon. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.